Hey YouTube, Untamed here. Do you remember when our biggest concern and gripe with the Toyota 4Runner was the fact that it had a little bit of a low horsepower, gutless power delivery? That was our biggest concern not that long ago, but now, fast forward just 1 year to the new 6th generation 2025 Toyota 4Runner, there are a slew of problems plaguing this platform. In today's video, I'm going to highlight all of the issues, well, most of the issues that are plaguing it, and explain why so many people are jumping back to the 5th generation 4Runner, and rightfully so. So stick with me. Before I showcase a number of the issues plaguing the 2025 model, let's real quickly recap what the 5th generation 2024 and older 4Runner offered us, right? I mean, that 5th generation had a naturally aspirated 4-liter V6 underneath the hood tied to a pretty archaic 5-speed automatic transmission, okay? Pretty archaic, but man, I thought that was the perfect duo, the perfect setup for that vehicle when it comes to reliability, and it has been battle tested and proven over the years, right? It was long in the tooth, that 5th generation 4Runner. It came out, 2009? So about 15 years is what we saw that run from the 5th generation, and that is pretty common from Toyota, right? I mean, they generally run vehicles long in the tooth because, historically speaking, Toyota has been known to pursue that Kaizen approach. Kaizen is that constant, continual pursuit toward perfection, right? They're constantly making small adjustments to make their vehicles perfect. And well, that 5th generation 4Runner epitomized that, right? And that's why a lot of people love Toyota. However, we have seen Toyota recently deviate from that. They're getting away from their core principles, core values of reliability, simplicity, and affordability. They're getting away from it. And so many true Toyota enthusiasts are getting away from the brand because that's why they loved it, right? And they no longer offer those three things. We got a buggy feature. Show us your waffle. Yeah! Okay. I do believe that 5th generation Toyota 4Runner offered a timeless design that will look good 10, 20 years down the road from now. Obviously, a part of me feeling that way is because it has been out for about that 15-year run, and well, I got used to seeing it. We all got used to seeing it all over the road, and that is a part of the equation. But I do firmly believe that it will continue to age well. And well, reliability always ages well, right? The spike in price tags is a huge pain point for so many people too. The TRD Pro, the high-spec, high-trim TRD Pro model in 2024 topped out right around $56,000, $57,000. That's where it topped out at. I spent $55,000 and some change on mine when I bought it. That is the top-end price. The new 2025 6th generation 4Runner TRD Pro will cost you right around $68,000, $69,000. The Trail Hunter, about the same. So the price tag, it jumped substantially, all while at the same time lessening the displacement size of that motor to a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, turbocharging it and hybridizing it, making it overly complex, overcomplicated, and stuffing it to the gills with technology. Nobody asked for that. Obviously, some of you will just chalk me up to a Toyota hater, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I do firmly believe that Toyota has an opportunity to pivot back to their core values a little bit better, right? They have an opportunity to put back a naturally aspirated V8 into their Tundra, into the Sequoia, into the Land Cruiser. They have opportunities there, and they have opportunities to bring back a naturally aspirated V6 platform for the Tacoma, for the Land Cruiser, for the 4Runner. And I do believe they can make that decision, right? And are they nervous to it? Is there going to be a lot of money invested to try to set up their factories to allow for that? Of course, that's going to be the case, but they'll see a huge return on that investment, I firmly believe. Just like we're seeing from Ram. Ram got rid of their Hemi V8 engines last year. They said, no more, we're done with the Hemi V8, and they did their final farewell and send-off of the Hemi V8, if you recall. But what are they doing now? They're bringing it back. Bringing it back for 2026. They're bringing back the Ram TRX with the supercharged V8. They're bringing back these big dogs. Toyota can do that too, and I think there'll be a very, very good move for them. And guys, don't take it from me. Go search for yourself. Go look up the values of a lightly used 2024 Toyota 4Runner, not even lightly used. Look at one with 30 or 40,000 miles on it, 2024 model, 2023 model Toyota 4Runner, and look at how much they want for them. The price tags have skyrocketed. The values of them have skyrocketed. That's because people are figuring it out. They're figuring out that this new generation 4Runner, it is not it. It is not it, right? I mean, they've gone far, far away from the core values that has made that 4Runner nameplate so iconic and so great, right? They've overcomplicated this new platform and upcharged it far too much, put a 4-banger underneath the hood. Toyota enthusiasts don't want that, so they're jumping back to what they know and what they love, and that is the 5th generation Toyota 4Runner. And whether you choose to believe it or not, I do not hate the design of the new 6th generation 4Runner. I don't. I think it will grow on me over time. But some of the gripes that people are having or expressing on it is when you look at the side profile of the vehicle, you'll notice that the rear door handles are set a little bit higher than the front door handles when you're looking at the side of the vehicle. And to some people that just seems very wonky, and understandably so, but kind of a small gripe in the big scheme of things. Some people obviously will complain about the double Fu Manchu mustache out front. People have kind of griped about that from day one, and I can see why that could bother some people, just like the giant spindle grills of the Lexus models, right? Lexus SUVs, the huge spindle grills. I understand. That's not everybody's cup of tea. And well, we're seeing that with the double Fu Manchu on the 4Runner there. Another gripe people have, of course, is the battery pack sets in the rear cargo space of the 4Runner. That elevates that cargo space quite a bit on the hybridized models, right? So like on the TRD Pro, the Trail Hunter, all these hybridized i4 Max models with the hybridization to it, they set up far too high and it takes away from your cargo space. Another frustrating bit for so many people is if we're going to lessen the displacement size of the motor substantially, make it a 4-banger, turbocharge it, hybridize it, and only increase the fuel economy just slightly, I'm talking maybe 2 miles to the gallon better compared to the outgoing model. I'm talking real world fuel economy here. I'll throw up something on the screen here to showcase that. It is maybe 2 miles to the gallon better than that naturally aspirated V6. So it's hardly better. It should be so much better by doing so much change to that engine, right? But no, we're just getting a couple miles to the gallon better and a substantial change and loss in that displacement size. No thanks. Let's face it, doing changes like this, going from the large naturally aspirated platforms to these smaller displacement motors, turbocharged, hybridized platforms, this would be widely appreciated and applauded by so many owners of other vehicle manufacturers. Not Toyota though. Right? Obviously, there's a place for these hybridized platforms. That's the Toyota Prius, the Toyota RAV4, the Camrys. There's great options that should have these tiny hybridized platforms. That's not their off-road SUV segment. It is not their truck segment. But Toyota just went all in, totally all in, cashed in on some government credit handouts, carbon credits, tax credits. They cashed in on it. Let's face it, that's exactly what happened here. There's a reason why you don't see them pumping out these hybridized tiny displacement motors in other places of the world. Heck, they're still offering the 70 series archaic and diesel options all around the world. So it's not about saving the environment, saving the climate, right? It's not about that. It's about cashing in as best they can from the U.S. government. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I do firmly believe that all Toyotas built out of Japan do often come with the best refinement, the best fit and finish, and they feel perfect. They feel very well built. Every single one that I've ever owned, I've been very, very pleased with it. So that is a saving grace for the Toyota 4Runner. They didn't do the same thing that they did with the Toyota Tacoma. They didn't move production to a cheaper labor country just so they could save substantially on those labor costs. They kept it in Japan. So I appreciate Toyota for doing that at least. We'll talk through many of the issues that people are experiencing. I scoured a number of the forums. I look at the National Highway Safety Administration. I look at consumer reports. I look at all the problems that people are experiencing. And I'm going to throw up just a few as we talk through the few common examples that I continuously see anyway. So for starters, let me make it clear, of course, it is the first year of this generation Toyota 4Runner. And well, historically speaking, the first 1 or 2 years of any full new redesigned vehicle, they generally bump into some bugs and kinks, right? So let's be fair a little bit here, but it is a huge deviation from what we just had in the 5th generation 4Runner, and that is why people are largely disappointed. So let's talk through it. Now, you guys know I follow values very closely on all Toyotas, right? Land Cruisers, Tundras, Tacomas, 4Runners, Sequoias, you name it. It is pretty wild to see with the new generations here, they're immediately hitting dealership lots, brand new, full new redesigns, and then they're immediately coming with pretty substantial discounts and incentivized interest rates in order for Toyota dealers to actually move that metal. So that's quite alarming to see and pretty unprecedented for Toyota, right? Full new redesign of the 4Runner, and they're having to slash those prices with pretty large discounts to sell them. And even then, people are not buying them. As I popped through the forums, I did see a number of cases like this. This gentleman here has just under 1,900 miles on his SR5 Toyota 4Runner, and well, it says here, system stop, consult owner's manual, right? It's just a lot of that electronic failure popping up, and this is a prime example of it here. Here we have an example under 5,000 miles. It says maintenance required for traction battery cooling parts. Again, this has popped up a number of times for people, quite concerning. And if you scour through the forums, you're going to see a lot of this warning. So many people just regular driving are bumping into high transmission oil temperature warnings. So this here has become a huge problem, a very common problem for the 4Runner here. They definitely need to figure this out. Less than 2,500 miles he had on his 4Runner, just driving through a canyon, not even towing anything, two-wheel drive. That's what he saw. So in addition to that, in his very short ownership experience, he's already experienced having 3 check engine lights pop on. So unacceptable, especially from Toyota. And then we have this gentleman here with less than 3,000 miles. He has a DriveStar control malfunction as well as an evap purge line and check engine light pop on already. Less than 3,000 miles, pretty pathetic. And there are countless cases of this whole system malfunction error. Visit your dealer. There are countless examples of this all over forums, all over consumer reports of this 4Runner. Because of that, people are just ditching it. They're saying, you know what, to heck with this. I'm not going to deal with this headache. I'm going to go back to the rugged, tried, true, and tested 5th generation 4Runner that has less technology, less bells and whistles. It's simplistic and it's reliable. That's what I want. That's what I miss. And call me a conspiracy theorist all you want, but you can't help but feel like there's a level of planned obsolescence in modern day vehicles, even from Toyota now, which is pretty upsetting to say out loud, right? These kind of planned issues, bumps and headaches that you're going to bump into with these vehicles that will force you to take the vehicle back to the dealership for maintenance, back to the dealership for repair, or force you really to trade in the vehicle within 3 to 5 years. Nothing hugely catastrophic is the hope, right? But enough bumps and headaches along the way throughout your ownership to keep you coming back to the dealership, making money for the dealership, making money through the vehicle manufacturer, and well, consequently, trading it in every few years. In addition to coming back to the previous generation Toyotas, the reliable and simplistic Toyotas, we're seeing people do the same thing with other vehicle manufacturers that are still offering naturally aspirated platforms. We see it with Honda in particular. A lot of people are actually jumping back to Honda, getting into a Ridgeline with the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, going to now the Honda Passport that sports the same 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6. Well, here's an example here. A couple people already traded in their brand new 2025 Toyota 4Runners in for a new Honda, probably trying to get back to the reliability that they missed in what they once had with their previous generation Toyotas. This one's quite alarming. A gentleman here had only 410 miles on his Toyota 4Runner 2025, and he was experiencing this cyclical, squealing, high-pitched sound coming from his differential, whenever he switched it into 4 high and out of 4 high. Whenever it disengaged and re-engaged into 4 high, he was hearing that pretty awful sound. 410 miles, that should not be happening, and certainly not with the Toyota. I gotta admit, I do find it quite comical that we did see what we expected to some degree. Many Toyota dealers hike up their price tags with markups or ADMs, additional dealer markups, over the MSRP on these new 4Runners when they started hitting the dealership lots. Well, those came and went very quickly because of all these issues that people were experiencing with them. Here we have an example of a Texas dealership, a Toyota dealership, having a $20,000 markup on their Toyota 4Runner, which is pretty disgusting, right? So they're just trying to take advantage of the new cheese, your excitement as a consumer, take advantage of your excitement and make you pay for it. Line the pockets of that dealership, which is absolutely sickening. On top of that, if you look at this example here, what do they have? They have inflated protection packages all over it, right? These hugely inflated protection packages that are, again, lining the pockets of that dealership. Pretty sad. Let's face it, people right now are stretched very thin between the cost of their house, the rent, mortgage, cost of insurance, the cost of groceries. Everything has been shot to the moon. Everything is wildly expensive, right? The cost of things has far exceeded wages and salaries. So people cannot keep up as is. So they're not going to willy-nilly go out and buy this wildly overpriced Toyota 4Runner with a 4-cylinder underneath the hood, a hybridized 4-cylinder underneath it, right? Only for them to be met with these pretty significant flaws and faulty components, right? People are not falling victim to that anymore, and it's abundantly clear when you see how many of these 4Runners are just sitting on dealership lots right now. And don't be fooled, because if you go to your local dealership right now and you notice, hey, maybe there's not that many 4Runners after all, they must be selling. Not the case. Many 4Runners are actually on a quality control hold right now at the port. So many of them are on a 50 to 60 day quality control hold where they're actually trying to fix some of these faulty components and, well, the quality issues that we're facing. Call it wishful thinking all you want, but I do firmly believe that if we vote with our pocketbooks and not just go out and willy-nilly buy these vehicles, I think we would be sending a very strong message to Toyota, a message that needs to be sent to Toyota. They can't just pump out crap and put a Toyota badge on it and expect us to buy it, right? I'm tired of that. They're obviously resting on their laurels as a company. They're resting on their successes of their company, and they're beating their chest and hoping that that will continue to propel their sales with these new garbage generation vehicles here. So vote with your pocketbook. Don't buy these things. Send a message to Toyota. Let's get some naturally aspirated platforms back into their vehicles, right? That'd be great. And something to keep in mind, if you're watching a bunch of YouTube videos on these new generation Toyotas, Toyota PR, public relations, will only invite people who speak fondly of their products. If you speak critically of them, and truly critical, I'm not talking like, oh, I don't like the look of that. I'm talking critical of these vehicles. They will not invite you to these events. I know from experience, guys. So just have that in the back of your mind as you're watching these review videos. They're only reviewing that vehicle because the Toyota PR team let them come. And they only let them come because they know that they're going to speak fondly of it. Keep that in mind. So I'll wrap up the video there. Let me know what your thoughts are. I do firmly believe that the Toyota 4Runner nameplate is dead, much like the Toyota Tacoma, Tundra, and Land Cruiser nameplates are all dead. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what it's going to take for you to go back to Toyota for them to earn your business. Thanks for watching as always. If you find any value in this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a lot, and it certainly doesn't go unnoticed. Until next time.